with some snippets here for some honorable mentions for the best and worst lists. The whole list will come soon. But I'm going to start out with a few honorable mentions. These are the honorable mentions for the best list. These are the songs that didn't quite make the cut, but I still want to say a little snippet about them anyway. Okay? I mean, at first, there's a few ineligibles. There's a few ineligibles that, had they hit the year-end list, they would have been included. First ineligible, this song's from 2019, but it finally hit the charts, or at least the airplay charts this year, and the global for a little while. Bakar's Hell and Back. Really good song. Easily the best Afrobeat song that hit any chart this year. And had it hit the year-end 100, it would have been probably, maybe even number 2. That's how good I thought that song was. Another one that would have hit high on the year-end would have been Olivia Rodrigo's Bad Idea, Right? Unfortunately, Olivia Rodrigo will hit the honorable mentions for the worst list this year for her other song. The one that was the big hit. I was not a fan of that song. She tried to but she tried to do too much of that one. I'll explain that one in the honorable mentions for the worst list. But Bad Idea, Right? I will say when I listen to that song, something tells me somewhere she is a huge fan of mid-90s kind of alt-rock a little bit. Like it's like she's channeling her Kim Deal a little bit. A little bit of Kim Deal, a little bit of Nina Gordon, Louise Post. Shirley Manson, she kind of got that vibe going, and Bad Idea, Right is easily her best song. When I hear that song, first thought I had was, this is like PG Veruca Salt. I know it sounds a little crazy, but PG Veruca Salt, there's a lot worse that could be happening with music than PG Veruca Salt. FYI, I was a fan of Veruca Salt. Still am. They kick ass. They kick ass. Period. But that would have been high on the best list too, had it charted. One that would have been a little lower on the best list had it hit the year-end 100. And this was a grower song for me, because at first I didn't like it. Sabrina Carpenter's Nonsense. I think what made me like it is the fact that it seems like she does not take herself seriously at all. Yes, I realize she sounds like basically dollar store Ariana Grande singing, which wasn't really much of an Ariana Grande fan in the first place, but at least Sabrina Carpenter doesn't take herself seriously. Ariana sometimes, I think, takes herself too seriously. And I'm kind of glad that the outros, I think, are what changed my mind on that song, because it's like, she is not taking herself seriously at all. And I actually kind of like that. Another ineligible one, Miguel's Sure Thing. I'll talk about that in a retrospective eventually, because that song was good over 10 years ago, and it's still good today. Steve Lacy's Bad Habit, still good. In my opinion, it was the best song of last year. I'll get more on that if I do a retrospective of last year. That song is still good to this day. And if you want to hear more Steve Lacy, check out Dark Red. It's actually an even better song than Bad Habit. Now to get on to the best list honorable mentions proper. First honorable mention I'm going to make is Lavender Haze by Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift will be making the honorable mentions for the best and worst list. Honestly, this one was easily, in my opinion, her best song on Midnights. I am not a Swiftie. In fact, I have only heard a few songs of hers that I actually like, but my wife is. So, baby, take this as my avoid sleeping in the guest room honorable mention, because I actually don't mind Lavender Haze. It's the best Taylor Swift song on Midnights, period. I mean, Anti-Hero, the first few times I heard it was okay, but after a while, I ain't gonna lie, I kind of had the, as Todd in the Shadows calls, the heat waves first class effect on me. I got to the point where I didn't want to hear that song on the radio after a few months. The next one, I'll go with, this was a tough one to choose, but the number 19 basically for me was Fuck You Mean by Gunna. I know, it's like, that was also a grower. I think I like, but the problem I have with it, and this is why it didn't make the best list proper, I think I like the sample more than I like the song itself. And because, in all honesty, Gunna sounds like blah 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 yeah blah 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 yeah blah 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 yeah blah 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 blah. Fuck you mean blah 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 blah. That's what he sounds like to me. He's a dollar store Future, but at least he knows how to find the beat. People who can't find the beat will be mentioned in the worst list on a similar type of attempt. Another honorable mention, I'll go with Tennessee Orange by Megan Moroney. There was actually a decent amount of good country this year. Now, maybe I listen to a little more country than I do usually because, well, my wife is big into country, and it's just an adorable song. It's just an adorable love song. Nothing more, nothing less. It's very simple. And I get the sentiment of somebody being a fan of a team but wearing the fanhood of the other just because you really love the person you're with. Next one, Chemical by Post Malone. That one was a hard one to leave off, but there's a song that he features on that'll be in the best list. And in all honesty, I like the Seven Nation Army clap back in there, and I kind of like the fact that it's just a very light tune. Nothing more, nothing less. Next one was Shirt by SZA. It's just a good year for SZA. I had to pick one song of hers to be in the best list. This was one of the honorable mentions. The fact that I will mention SZA at least a couple of times says I had a good year. Next one was Cuff It by Beyonce. Now, Cuff It, the fact that it was partially written by Raphael Sadiq from Tony, 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 and the instrumental was mostly written by Nile Rodgers, aka the guy that wrote Good Times. Yeah. That's all you needed from me. I kind of like Beyonce's new, 70s aesthetic here. Because she had a good song last year with Break My Soul, which sounded like a house song, which was a really good house song that sampled a really good house song, Robin S.'s Show Me Love, and, well, she, like Drake, has decided to pay Big Frida's bills, which Big Frida is amazing. Check her out. But yeah, Cuff It, just good lighthearted disco song. Next one, Thought You Should Know by Morgan Wallen. Morgan Wallen made both the best and the worst lists this year. This was actually a last-minute cut. I actually decided to go with another Morgan Wallen song in the best list toward the back end, but it was difficult for me to choose between that one and another one. You'll hear about the other one in a little bit. Next one was Boy's a Liar Part 2 by Pink Panthers and Ice Spice. This Ice Spice will make the worst list. This is the only mention she'll have on the best list because, I mean, I think this is another case like Fuck You Mean that I think I like the sample and the instrumental more than I like the song itself. Like that. That is an amazing instrumental. Too bad it's wasted with Ice Spice. That's the only thing that's keeping that off the list is Ice Spice. Calm Down by Rayma and Selena Gomez. Good Afrobeats track. Consider this an apology for Bakar's Hell and Back not being eligible. And the final honorable mention was Kill Bill by SZA, and this was a close one. This was a lot closer to making the list than people think. I almost put 2 SZA songs on the list, and this would have been the second one. I thought there was a better SZA song. Alright. And since I'm already about 10 minutes along, I may as well just give you the best list for the year. Number 10. Morgan Wallen had a really big year. Whether you like him or not, is he an idiot? Yes. But he had a really good year, at least monetarily. The fact that there was so much crap this year that only one of his songs is going to get a mention on the worst list. Yeah, only one of his songs is going to get a mention on the worst list. Granted, it's going to be really high on the worst list. Should be telling. But he had a really... I didn't think the quality of his work was as good as it was a couple of years ago. But this song was actually good. The number 10 is One Thing at a Time by Morgan Wallen. I thought it was just a humorous song. I thought it was funny, for one. And Morgan Wallen is actually a talented performer. I just wish he'd stay in his own lane sometimes and avoid some of the trappier elements, if that makes any sense. Here it just has like this classic like 90s style country instrumental that just sounds really good and complements Morgan Wallen's voice very well. And I just think it's funny that he's just talking about like he can only quit one thing at a time. Thought it was funny. Good song. Good song. Not much more really I need to say about it than that. But it was far from the best. It was not the best traditional country song. For the second best traditional country song that hit the year in 100, I'm going to go with my number 9 selection. The number 9 selection is Parker McCollum's Handle on You. I mean, maybe I get country a little more because I do live in the South. For those of you who actually know me in my personal life, I do live in the South. So I understand country music and I understand its appeal. I did not put any regional Mexican on the best or worst list because, in all honesty, some of it I really just don't understand. Not a fan of it, but I don't understand it, and it's not going on the worst list if I don't fully understand it. So, there is one Spanish language song later on the best list. But, country, I completely understand its fanhood, I completely understand what it means, and I completely get it. This song I got from first listen. Parker McCollum's Handle on You, my number 9 song, it's just a really good country song. And it's catchy. I mean, it is extremely catchy. After all this back and forth, the fifth won't do, you finally got a handle on you. Yeah. And Tennessee ain't Kentucky if you ain't here to love me. And that was a really good song. Catchy, well produced. Parker McCollum's got a lot of talent. And thank you God it wasn't a boyfriend country song, because there's going to be a lot of that on the honorable mentions at least to the worst list, because I had to decide whether I hated Bad Sampling or Boyfriend Country more. But for traditional country, Parker McCollum was the second best country song this year that hit the year end, and it wasn't even close. He was very good at singing that song. And that song is just really catchy. It's just a really good song. I can't even be mad about it. It's a great song. I have no shame in that. Now, to change to a genre that I don't particularly completely get, but I think I'm starting to get in some aspects, because put a ineligible honorable mention, by the way, to New Jeans is Super Shy. Not eligible for this year's list. Hopefully it's eligible for next year's. But I put a K-pop song at number 8. Because this was one of the ultimate guilty pleasure songs of this year. My guilty pleasure number 8 song was was Cupid by 50/50. It is like an earworm song. This is one of those songs, I oddly enough really liked it. It was one of those songs, I didn't think I would like. But when I heard it, it's I get why this is popular. I get what purpose it has in the music business. I get why it sells. And it's just a really good pop song. And I gave a second chance to Cupid. Boom, boom, boom. That love isn't real. Cupid is so dumb. Yeah, I get the hook. I mean, I gave a second chance to Cupid. Now it's got me feeling stupid. Yeah. Now I'm acting kinda stupid. Boom, boom. I know I'm butchering the lyrics a touch bit, but it's catchy. It's infectious. I get the idea behind the song. And number 2, unfortunately, I just wish they weren't one-hit wonders, because I really wanted to hear more. It sounded great. Screw you, South Korea, for the record industry down there screwing these guys a little bit. Number 7. Here's another guilty pleasure. I am not a big Doja Cat fan, but God almighty do I love a great Screw You song. And a great villain song. And this is a great villain song. I went with Paint the Town Red for number 7. Boom, 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 boom. Walk on by. I like the little sample there. I mean, it's a great sample. It works. It carries the song, and it complements Doja Cat, because I'm glad. I'm hoping hell this is not a Dr. Luke song, because Dr. Luke, Dr. Luke is her selling point, but also her curse for Doja Cat. Now, I will be mentioning Dr. Luke in the worst list later, because he put out a couple of stinkers this year. But, I mean, this is just a really good, I'm back bitch, really good Screw You song. She's the devil. She's a bad little bitch. She a rebel. Sometimes I say I'm a bad MF. I'm a rebel. And I'm the devil. El Diablo. I don't care. I'll paint the towel red all day. It's a nice little guilty pleasure / theme type. It's like a wrestling theme for a heel character in WWE or AEW. It would fit perfectly. And I'm a demon lord. Number 6. I did say I put an English as a second language song on here. I did say I put a song that is sang primarily in Spanish on here. Anytime I see Shakira, FYI, if I do any retrospectives or anything, Shakira's going to make the best list every time. My wife will joke with you that is my get out of jail free card, is Shakira. I have had a crush on Shakira since I was a teenager. Everyone who knows me in my personal life knows this and knows it very well. I have never been secretive about my love for Shakira. And I actually prefer hearing her sing in Spanish. God, that was a great Super Bowl show. Shakira, J-Lo, basically, for years, my two biggest celebrity crushes growing up. And add on the fact that show introduced me to Bad Bunny. You'll hear a lot about him if I ever do a 2022 retrospective, because Titi Me Pregunto is a jam. And so is Party. But for my number 6 song, I went with the Bizarrap Music Sessions Volume 53, which was the Shakira song. Let's just put it this way. Shakira is amazing. And PK's an idiot. Basically, I saw an English translation of these lyrics because it got played at my wife's family's New Year's thing this year. My wife's Tia played it for me and for her Tio, because apparently her Tio also likes Shakira as well. FYI, by the way, my wife is Mexican, so for future reference, if I refer to Tia and Tio, that's why. But yes, for one, it sounds really amazing. Shakira's singing voice sounds amazing. She's still gorgeous. She still has a great singing voice. Bizarrap complements her very well with the production. And then when you read the English language version of the lyrics, it becomes the ultimate... Well, I said screw you with Doja Cat earlier. I'm going to actually use the word. It is the ultimate fuck you song. It is a fuck you song to Gerard Piqué. And it is done about as perfectly as it can be done. For one, Shakira's voice sounds amazing. For two, she just precision strikes him. Amazing song, and for those kids in Gen Z that have never listened to Shakira, start listening to Shakira. You're going to be amazed what you find. And you'll figure out why a lot of men had some rather questionable dreams about Shakira when they were kids. Now from a screw you song to just another adorable song. Number 5. Remember how I told you in the honorable mentions that SZA had a really good year and I had to pick one SZA song? Here's the SZA song. I picked Snooze. Snooze is an amazing song. The hook is amazing. The ambiance is amazing. Even the uncredited Travis Scott part is actually good. And Travis Scott did not have a good year this year. His album kind of bombed. But SZA, how can she lose when she's with you? She cannot snooze and miss the moment. You just too important. Nobody like you. Yeah, that little I can't lose when I'm with you. I cannot snooze and miss the moment. You just too important. Nobody like you. Yeah, that part just sells over the top of that very ambient instrumental. It was just amazing. And SZA, if I do retrospectives, SZA's going to be part of a lot of retrospectives. because she is just an amazing artist. Speaking of another honorable mention that it made me think of that was ineligible, but I hope I get to talk about more next year because I think it'll be a bigger hit. Usher's Good Good would have made the list had it charted on this year's year end, but it might chart on next year's, so I'm saving that as a next year consideration. Since I'm on the subject of just chill R&B songs. SZA is amazing, though. For those of you who are not initiated, SZA had a great year this year. Keep that in check. Number 4. Now, this is a last-minute change because I had another song there before, but I decided to move that other song up 2 spots. Number 4 is Until I Found You by Steven Sanchez. And just the Steven Sanchez version. I'm sorry, but M by Hold was not needed. The original version of Until I Found You, it features backing vocals by his ex-girlfriend, Georgia Webster, which is the Georgia that he's mentioning around the lyrics, around the verses. You'll see examples of badly done wuss music on the worst list. This is basically the love songs, classical love song done right. Steven Sanchez's abilities just sound really good in this. Okay? It just sounds amazing. Nothing more to be said, nothing more to be seen. It's just a great classical style love song. Number 3. Now, number 3 on this list, by the way, my video kind of went out, so this is a continuation of the best list. So, call this a part 2, even though it's only going to have 3 songs on it. Well, 3.5, because it cut out in the middle of my last, song review. Number 3 is Escapism by Ray featuring 070 Shake. Ray is a British singer, mostly known for being a generic EDM artist. But she had a bad issue with her record company. Well, let's just put it this way. She finally got out of that record contract, and this is the first big single from it. It just basically talks about it's basically a house electronica track that talks about being on basically getting broken up with your boyfriend and going on a big bender where you can't remember anything you did. Basically, you snorted cocaine, you drank, you went to a nightclub, hooked up with someone, but now you're hungover, can't remember shit you did the night before. It's one of those deals. This is one of those songs. Ray singing, I don't want to feel how I did last night. I don't want to feel how I did last night. Doctor, doctor, anything please. Doctor, doctor, have mercy on me. Yeah. That whole part, and then add on the fact, basically her ex broke up with her, done or dumb decision, whichever one you want to think about, hey, both work. And then the instrumental is like a car crash instrumental. It fits the song perfectly. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah, that whole just a great little instrumental there. And then 070 Shake, basically at the end, just doing like a deadpan. 070 Shake, by the way, is a British drill rapper. But she does her part with this little, like, just narrates almost like what's really gone on the night after. The 4/4 kick drum banging in her head, yeah. And that is the perfect analogy for a hangover. I'll say that much right now, having had multiple hangovers in my life. Number 2. Now this is a song I moved up last minute, and I don't care what y'all think about me for this one, because I never claimed I was trendy. Number 2 is Noah Kahan's Dial Drunk. It is the perfect description for somebody who has gone through some troubles. In Noah Kahan's case, he's describing alcoholism. But everybody's done stupid shit in their life and regrets it. This is the song for... he's admitting he's been the villain in his life. It's Anti-Hero if Anti-Hero was written better. And in male form, I guess. Because, I mean, he makes a reference to, you know, he ain't proud of all the punches that he's thrown in the name of someone he no longer knows. That's the lyric that hits me the most is, I ain't proud of all the punches that I've thrown in the name of someone I no longer know. We've all had those moments. It felt so good to hear it in song form. I mean, and we've all had times where we were a danger to ourselves. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I've had plenty of moments where I was a danger to myself at some point in my life. But, I mean, we also have that person we would dial drunk, die a drunk, and die for. We've all had that person. We've all met that person, whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover, whether it's a family member, your parents, your brother, your sister, your wife. Yeah. We've all had that person, so it's just a great little, like, instrumental. And Noah Kahan had a good year. By the way, I realize as I'm making this video right now, Stick Season and Northern Attitude are still on the charts as we speak. Hopefully I'll get to talk about those for next year, because Noah Kahan's Stick Season is a really good record. Check it out. And finally, number 1. It wasn't going to be anything else. Remember how I told y'all in the part 1 when I was reviewing Parker McCollum's Handle on You that was the second best country song of the year that made the year end? I am so glad the Something in the Orange guy is not a one-off, because he made an incredible album. Check it out, please. Number 1 is I Remember Everything by Zach Bryan and Casey Musgraves. And it wasn't even close. There was not going to be another track that was in contention as soon as I heard that one. That song makes me cry almost every time I hear it. Rock a whiskey gonna ease my mind. Yeah. Let's just put it this way. Do I remind you of your daddy in your 88 Ford? Yeah. Zach Bryan's part will send you into tears. But what'll send you even further into tears, Casey Musgraves plays off of Zach Bryan amazingly. Because her lines just cut like a knife. I mean, the song is basically about a relationship that's ran its course. But God almighty, Casey Musgraves cuts Zach Bryan heavily. Like, of course the hook's like, Cold shoulder, closing time, you were begging me to stay till the sun goes. Strange words come on out. But the part that really cuts is like, pictures pass in time, you always smile like that when you're drinking. Wish I didn't, but I do. I remember all the nights with you. But then the part where Casey Musgraves comes in, it's like, you're drinking every day just to ease your mind. When the hell are you gonna ease mine? There's a part that goes in there, and I told my wife one time, I don't ever want her to think of me like this. You know you never be the man that you always swore. In the AA Ford. Yeah, I never want to be that guy. Trust me. Because that guy, let's just put it this way, Casey Musgraves cut through that guy deep. This is like the perfect song to describe a relationship that's ran its course. The emotion is perfect. Everything in it is perfect. There is not anything about that is not perfect. It's just an amazing song from two amazing artists. Zach Bryan, you made the best song of 2023. You made, or at least the best one that hit the year end. Well, that was the best of the Billboard year-end Hot 100.